Hey, welcome back to Stimmy Films, man. The footage leaked of Boosie running up on T.I. in the airport. He whacked him in the back of the head with the water bottle from the whole gift shop. And as soon as T.I. turned around, King Harris's son, he came running. His hair was bouncing everywhere. That's how Boosie even spotted him out at first. Tootie nudged him on the shoulder, and he goes, "There goes T.I.'s son and everything." So they ran up on him right after they got the whole security checkpoint. And T.I. was stunned because he turned around expeditiously and was shocked. And he didn't realize that Boosie had came up to him. So he was frightened at first. He was like tensed up. He was stuttering. He couldn't get the words out. He was like, "Hi, Boosie." And so that's when Boosie was like, look, he told him that they was around a lot of people, that so he wasn't going to do nothing to him. And so he said, "Look, T.I., you don't have to worry because I'm not going to do nothing to you. I'm just going to make my money." He already got his new deal, his new club that Boosie's about to open up. So he told T.I. that if T.I. needs any bread, to holla at Boosie, and he'll give him $500 if he wants to do a show at his club. Otherwise, he had to move around because he's not trying to. He giving T.I. a chance to do business with him because he don't want to have to deal with nobody unless he's doing business with them. Like, he doesn't want to have, Boosie doesn't want to really have to beef with T.I. because now they know that T.I. told, and when the paperwork came out, he actually told on his cousin. And so that's why Boosie was talking about how he knew all along that T.I. was a teller, and he can't believe that he spent all them years hanging out with him at his house, inviting him over to his estate. You know, they basically was raising their kids together. Their kids are best friends. And Boosie's looking at it like, look, he can't have his kid be best friends with another kid whose dad is telling his own cousins and family members, and who else knows. If T.I. was going to already tell on his cousin like that, then there's nothing stopping him to tell on Lil Boosie. And that's why Boosie, he don't want to take none of those risks because he's already been inside the system and had to deal with all of that and survive and get out without having to get in trouble and being put in the chokey in the hole and everything like that. And so now when they see each other and they ran up to each other at the airport, it's like, yeah, they know that they both were in Atlanta. They both was in a small, in an area where they're gonna run into each other because a lot of rappers, they have to travel around, and that's why they always end up bumping into each other at those locations like the airport, the bus stop, the Ubers, and all these different events where people got to get dropped off and picked up at, because you can't just appear and disappear at places. And so they know at the end of the day, Boosie knew that T.I. had to get out of town some way, and he didn't want to have to drive to all the way to the West Coast to drive to L.A. or whatever. And so when they was both walking in, he knew that he was going to run into somebody, but he just didn't know it was T.I. And so before T.I. saw him, he snuck around the corner of all the people because Boosie is short. Boosie is shorter than T.I. And so he knew that he was going to be able to creep around through the crowd and pop up on T.I. unknown. And T.I. was just lacking like that. He got caught lacking. Basically, he had his back turned. He was distracted. He was trying to do all this other stuff. He was trying to think of the next big word to say. And as he's thinking of a big word to say, that's when Boosie pops up out of nowhere and he hits him with the, "Come on, man," and does the Boosie impersonation like that one guy did. But at the end of the day, y'all, it's good that they basically came together, squashed their beef, and showed everybody that in this day and age, you don't have to beef with each other. You could actually agree to disagree, or actually put your differences to the side and come together, either get some bread or just show the world that, people like as us folks really out here right now, that we could still get along with each other, and we don't have, even if we got millions and millions of dollars, don't mean we hate each other, don't mean that we don't want to see each other win. And so that's really what Boosie and T.I. was doing. And so it just so happened that the cameras were around, and they caught the moment to where they were embracing each other and hugged it out, and basically said that, you know what, it wasn't worth having the beef because they lost a lot of opportunities. They could have had reality TV shows making millions if they would have came together and did a whole reality show together. That's what they was working on. But because of the beef and the issues, and all of this really started over Charleston White anyways. If Charleston White wouldn't have been grilling them so hard, he got them to diss each other, because he was talking about how Boosie was wrong for hanging out with T.I. when T.I. was telling on everybody, and he was already getting on Tootie and King Harris. So that's when it all started, really, in that both of them was just responding to Charleston White, and then when he got them to turn on each other. And so that's why people just can't be listening to what everybody says, because everybody got always something to say. And if you're the type of person who takes that stuff personal and thinks it's the truth when people are just talking whatever their own opinions is, when it comes to if somebody don't like, if Charleston White was saying a particular thing about Boosie and a particular thing about T.I., that doesn't mean it's necessarily true. And that doesn't mean T.I. and Boosie have to believe Charleston White. Even if what Charleston White said made sense, they don't have to hear it. They don't have to sit here and live by what he says and what goes on like that. And so they adults, they understand that they don't have to listen to all these other things, and that they could just live their life and tune out the media. They could just tune out all these other things, just like how a lot of people, when they get really focused on stuff, they tune out all the distractions. So at the end of the day, they basically got riled up and finessed and gassed up by Charleston White, into where Charleston White baited them into trying to over macho man each other. They was having a hiss fit against each other on who's going to be more macho and whatnot. And that led to them both losing out on a lot of opportunities until they realized what's really going on, and that they should be coming together instead of separating each other apart and dividing. And so once they got that understood, that's when they came and, okay, they linked together, shook it up, put their differences to the side for the community, for the next youth generation. They decided to bring it back together and start their whole thing back up to where now, okay, yeah, they back on track. They getting their bread. They going to start the reality show back up. Boosie got his club. T.I. going to bring people into the club. He's going to do a lot of shows. They both going to have fun and be able to take care of their families, and that's what it's about. And so that's why they learned a valuable lesson. And after all that, saying, you know what, it was worth coming together and remaining friends, because now they get to take it to the next level, and they both can focus on doing bigger and better instead of thinking of what to say to diss each other next. And so, because that would have ended up transforming into into their music. It would have ended up showing in the deals that they doing, in the way that they talk to people and post online and everything in their stories. And so now they got that out of the way, and they could basically now do things together to where they could get tens of millions now, and basically throw big events where Boosie and T.I., if a Boosie and T.I. event came up, all of y'all would want to go to it. And they could do it in Atlanta, and they could do it where Boosie be at, and everything, and everybody will turn out, and they got all their celebrity friends. But they couldn't do none of that if they was fighting against each other and dissing each other. And so at the end of the day, it's better that they turned it around instead of taking them disses to a level where it became something real in the streets. And so that's a good thing to learn from that. I'm gonna catch y'all later.